Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another Noodle film review. Today we're looking at something a little bit different. It's not a horror film. We're looking at a British film called Bait. Now this has been out since about 2019, I think. It's quite a new film, but when you see it, it kind of looks like it's about 50, 60 years old. It's been particularly filmed in a sort of style to make it look really old. It's got lots of sort of screen tears on it and sort of grain, and it's shot in 13mm film. But I think that adds character to the film. The film starts off as we see a guy, our main character called Martin, and he's like a local fisherman. It's based in like a small little village in Cornwall. And we see Martin, he's sort of like a fisherman. He's going out on his boat with his brother and family members going out fishing. Now, this is a story where it's sort of like Martin doesn't like change, pretty much. And what's happening here is everybody knows each other in this small village. They're all sort of like, everyone knows everyone, you know. It's like those sort of ones, everyone knows everyone by the first name, that, you know, they're going to each other's houses and all this kind of thing. But suddenly things are starting to change. We've got a couple that's brought the old Skipper house, which used to be owned by Martin's family, and it's been sold to this couple from London and their family. And they're trying to set up like a sort of B&B holiday sort of service. And so they start having guests and stuff arriving, and more people come every weekend to do sort of like tourist things, and things are starting to change. And Martin doesn't like it. He likes the old school way because he's an old school sort of fisherman. And his brother, who owns the boat, who he does his fishing with, has now stopped fishing, and he has turned his boat into like a 30-minute coastal tour boat, so he can drive tourists up and down the coast on the boat, showing them the coastline. So now Martin is resorted to having to fish on the banks of the sea. So he sort of like, he's got his own sort of fish nets, and every day he sort of goes out and unties them and rolls them out and sort of anchors them to like the bay, and obviously when the tide comes in, he hopes to catch fish. And so this sort of thing's going on for Martin, and he's starting to fall out with some of the new people that are moving in. They keep clamping his car because he keeps parking his car by the old Skipper house, what they used to own, to go down to do where he does his fishing. But they want him not to do that. They said, because because it's like a guest house now, we want the guests to be able to park their cars there. Anyway, so there's some sort of like all these sort of things going on. And his brother's son has taken a shine to a girl who's obviously visiting from London, and he's taken a shine to him, and there's sort of like a little bit of a love interest going on there between them two. Now we see part of the story where Martin's brother asks his son if he wants to come and work with him the next day, because obviously he's busy and he could do with his help, and he says no, he doesn't want to do it. So Martin asks him, do you want to come and work with me in the fishing? He goes, yeah, I'll do that. So he sort of like is sort of going against his dad's wishes and sticking with Martin, trying to be a bit old school. So we kind of see Martin, sort of like one day he's going to his little hut where he keeps all his fishing equipment, and he sees the lad in there with the young girl that he's met, and they've obviously spent the night together. So he torments him with a dead fish and waking him up, and then we see them both on the sort of beach, kind of collecting fish that's in the net. It's really beautifully shot though, although it looks really old and different, but I like this. It's got a real deep charm to it. Anyway, the story sort of progresses down this way, and we meet different characters from like the city with the characters from the village, and it's like these two sort of different lifestyles clashing almost, and it's kind of really different. Martin's going door to door trying to sell fish, to sort of like he used to the pub and things like that. So and he's trying to do sort of things like that, and then he's trying to catch lobsters, but he hasn't got a boat, and he has got a savings. He's got like a tin in his house where he's sort of saving his money, to buy a boat so he can still do his fishing. And the young lad is sort of like trying to sort of follow in Martin's footsteps, I think. But as the story progresses, Martin continues to fall out with the locals and the new sort of city folk. I think it's because Martin doesn't like the change, and he doesn't like that everyone else is sort of changing around it. Like the pub's turned into a more of like a holiday sort of pub, and sort of like it's not open when the locals want it sort of thing. It's more for the holiday makers, and like I say, his brother's doing this boat ride, and this family that have bought the old skipper house are laying down all these rules. They keep getting Martin's car clamped, and he starts arguing with them and stuff like this. And I'm only trying to earn a living. I've done all this before you lot even came here. And so all the sort of progression is really hitting Martin to the point of breaking point. So does he reach breaking point? What's going to happen? Is this going to turn into like a Michael Douglas falling down kind of thing? Is he going to reach breaking point and do something bad within the little village? You need to watch it and find out, because I'm not going to tell you anymore. What do I think of Bait? It's extremely awesome. It's a completely different story from anything I've sort of seen. It's very, very English story, because it's all based around the outskirts of the cities for folk and live in small little villages, all down the country. This is based in Cornwall. It doesn't have to be in Cornwall. It could be up here in Yorkshire. It could be anywhere. The old ways, the old folk hate change. They like the old style of the way of living. They don't like anything that changes, and obviously people from the city are used to the change and want it to change, because it's all about progression and money. So when these two clash, bad things happen. And so this is what this film is about. It's a very niche kind of film. It's something that you really have to be sort of interested in, because it's not an action-packed kind of film, but it's a community storytelling film, which I really, really enjoyed. The pluses of the film, I love the way it's filmed. I love the way it's transferred. It's in 13 millimeters, so it's got like the two borders on the either side, so it's narrow, and it's black and white with lots of grain and sort of film tear and noise on the film to make it look like almost old, because it's almost like an old sort of folk tale. And I think a lot of British films are like this. They are pretty much folk tales, and it's the clashing of communities normally, and that's where things happen. Even like The Wicker Man is a clash of communities, isn't it? And I think that's where British films kind of harbour from, and this is brilliant. It's quite well acted. There's some weak acting in places, because these are not like any well-known people in this film, and so they're not like really well-known actors. But they do a really good thing. It's this director's first film, I believe. If I can see if I can find my glasses, I can read it. It's getting quite dark. I can't remember his name, but I'm sure it's on the front of the box there. This is his first film, I believe, and he's done a really good job. He's taken a sort of really sort of artistic view over it. He's not just sort of like he's trying something different, and I really like that. And this to me is going to be like, in years to come, a classic, a cult classic. in the British sort of genre of film. It's really, really cool. Really good film. So I'm going to score the film an excellent watch and give it a 9 out of 10. Really cool film. I can't recommend it enough. If you want something a little bit different, it's not horror, but it's still got this sort of kind of really kind of little dark story going on behind it. Bait is your film. It's really, really cool. Thank you guys. Thanks for watching this little review. Until next time, look after yourselves, look after one another, and I really hope I'll see you all soon.